Hi, this is Mike. The purpose of this video is to introduce the Taurus PT111 Millennium G2. Now, that's a mouthful, so I'll just refer to it as the PT111. There was a PT111 Millennium Pro, which was discontinued and had some issues that resulted in a class action lawsuit. So to be clear, we're referring to the PT111 G2 in this video, not the Millennium Pro. Now, this firearm is getting a lot of attention right now due to its budget price. Currently, in June of 2016, the firearm can be purchased for $200 to $220. It's probably the best value in a 9mm at this point in time. Now, let's be honest, Taurus has had some good products, and they've had some challenges as well. I'm not going to go into speculation and rumors, etc., but rather just stick to the facts. So we'll start with the box. Normally, it actually comes with a firearm in it. You get the limited warranty and the manual. No ammo, that's all on me. You do get 2 of these keys, which we'll discuss later. And it also comes with 2 12-round magazines. It's just a cardboard box. You don't get the plastic boxes, etc. Just for that information. Now, we will be going over 2 in this video. Now, they're the exact same model, 2 different firearms, though. Both have been safety checked, of course. Now, let's talk about the specs. And these are taken from Taurus's website, so we'll go from there. It's 22 ounces, has a 12+1 capacity, a 3.2-inch barrel length, a compact-sized frame, single-action, double-action trigger. It has a fixed front sight, and an adjustable 2-dot rear sight. I will note that they are white when they come from the factory. I just got a little paint and some Sharpies and made it easier for me. The overall length is 6.24 inches. Safety features: a loaded chamber indicator, manual safety, the Taurus security system, and a trigger safety. The good. Right off the bat, the price. If you want a 9mm on a budget, the only firearm that I've seen lower is the High Point. They're 2 different designs, different capacities, different weights, the whole 9 yards. So trying to compare them is futile. But I mean, we're talking about a, $200, $220 gun here. The size. It's small enough to be a daily carry, but still large enough to be fun to shoot. The capacity. It has a double stack magazine that holds 12 rounds. These are snap caps. We'll be using those later. Plus you have, of course, one in the chamber. The magazine release can be reversed for left-handed use. That's the magazine release. You do have a safety. It cannot be reversed, nor can the slide release. It has a second strike capability. And what that means is if the round fails to fire on the first trigger pull, you can pull it again. On the first pull, it's single action. On the second and subsequent pulls, it's double action. So the first strike per every round is going to be single action. There is a hack for that. I'll show you that here later for the first round anyway. The grip is textured all the way around, and it feels good. I mean, it gives a good grip. It's not going anywhere. And once the magazine is inserted, again, these are snap caps, it fits your hand good. Fits my hand good anyway. There is a Picatinny rail. It's only got 1 slot for that, and it's maybe 1 inch long. Honestly, it's good for maybe a red dot sight, but that's about it. Anything else is going to stick out. I mean, even a small flashlight's going to come out to here. So it is what it is. Go from there. Now the bad. The fit and finish is not terribly spectacular. And by that, let's look here. We've got the some space here at the bottom where the magazine can rattle around a little bit. But to be honest, all guns do. If you can notice right here, and it will be difficult, there's a little piece of polymer that, when they drove the pin in, it could have been cleaned up. I had a couple others like that they've already cleaned up. No big deal there. But if you'll notice, side by side, the back pin and the center pin, and on this gun are actually depressed a little further than on this one. This one, the front pin is depressed a little more than on this one. So no big deal necessarily, but that kind of fit and finish. I mean, overall, I mean, it's a polymer gun with, you know, of course, a metal slide and barrel, etc. As I said, the manual safety is not ambidextrous, and for lefties, the safety becomes pretty much useless. It's very difficult to operate when you're grabbing it from your left. I mean, you're going to have to sneak over or, you know, come up on the way in, neither of which is terribly attractive. But it does have a manual safety, and it doesn't get in the way if you are a lefty. It doesn't get in the way. It's rather unobtrusive, but it's nice to have if you like safeties, and if you don't like safeties, there's just not a lot you can do about that. The magazine, it just kind of looks cheap to me, and if you can see down here, you've got the yellow follower. Now, plastic followers are not new to, you know, unique to Taurus by any stretch, and the yellow just kind of makes it look cheap. It says, screams, hey, I'm a plastic follower. But one good thing about it is, when it locks back, it's a real quick check. You can see the yellow's right there. You know that your magazine's empty and that you haven't had any kind of, you know, failure to eject, failure to feed, etc. So that's kind of good. The other thing that makes it feel cheap is that we have this plastic in here that surrounds the striker. Now, again, that's not necessarily unique to Taurus by any stretch. It's just you made it orange or reddish orange, and it just kind of sticks it out like a sore thumb. That's my concern there. We talked about the loaded chamber indicator. It has a pretty good amount of play, and when it comes up, if it comes up all the way, you can see there is some red paint there. However, in practice, it doesn't come up that far. Again, snap caps. So it doesn't come up very far. You've still got a lot of play left in it. So I guess it gives you a little bit of a feel that, you know, you've got something there as far as a tactile feel, but it's not going to snag on your clothes. But it's really hard to see the red paint when we do that. So just a heads up on that. Go ahead and clear the gun. Now, it does have a long trigger pull. Again, we are clear here. So on the first strike, it's always going to be single action. So you don't get a lot of pressure back until you get here. And it's a short enough trigger pull, but it comes all the way, I mean, almost to the very back of the trigger guard up against the frame. Some people find that annoying. The good thing is your reset's very short. So you're ready to go for the next one. Okay. Now the indifferent, the manual safeties. Some people hate them, some people love them. You know, that's up to you. Just know that it's there. Single action on the first trigger pull, as I talked about. The second strike does use double action. It does have plastic sights. Now, Taurus has a good warranty, but the plastic sights are not covered, nor is the grip or the finish. So just be forewarned on that. People that have had issues with the sights, from what I understand, Taurus is replacing them free of charge. The loaded chamber indicator, I already talked about the issue there. It has a Taurus security system. Some people may find this useful. All Taurus semi-automatics have this, and what this is, they call it a key, but basically it's a little hex key with a hollow center. It's a security key, but it fits all of them. And you can also buy these type of security keys in a lot of different home improvement places, etc. But what happens is, if you turn it, comes out all the way, and it does block the firing pin, so you can't fire, and you also can't move the slide. Now, if it's in single action, so like if you, oh, that's beautiful. Try again. Okay, well, that one's locked up. Take it apart, see if that changes anything. It does not. It's always good when these kind of things happen on the air, right? So that's the first time I've had an issue with the Taurus security system, and now that we're back in, it works fine. So anyway, so what I was saying is, if you have it in single action mode, you can pull the trigger, but it does have a firing pin block, so that's all safe and sound in there. And let's see if I can make everything unlock correctly this time. So unlock it. Yeah, see, now everything's fine. That was a one-off. Hadn't had it happen before. There is no manual decocker, although there is a way to make the first round double action, and I'll show that to you. So basically, you have to take the slide off. Yay, lots of fun. And we put our round in. Put our barrel back in, and we need our round sticking out just a little bit here. And you'll notice that we need to catch the extractor here. So we just make sure it catches the extractor and slide everything in home. Put in the slide spring, or mainspring as they call it. Slap it back on, and only come back far enough that it clicks. So now, as you can see, we're in double action mode. So we have a long way to go here. I have tested it, and the firing pin does, in fact, or the striker does hit, and it will fire. So that's a good way if you like double action on the first trigger pull, which I do. That's a nice little hack around that. Now, yes, I have two of these. I couldn't pass up the price. I did my own research on these and just found that I couldn't find a better value, and $200 for a concealable polymer pistol, you know, good weight, good size, and mostly 12-round magazine. I like to have the extra rounds with me. You know, you get into smaller firearms. Taurus even makes a 7.9 Slim, which is a single stack, and I think it only holds 6+1 or 7+1. And that just, I didn't find it exciting. Now, the takedown on these, real simple, just like a Glock. Easiest way I found on these, so you grip it here, use your thumb to articulate, slide down both of these pins, there's one on either side, dry fire, and off it comes. These are the two pins I'm talking about. They pull down the center pin, so it has to come all the way down. And again, putting it back on is just that simple. Of course, you can go all the way back and chamber around if needed. Now, I have been to the range with these a few times. This is my primary. That's the one that stays on my hip. I probably put 100, 150 rounds through this one, probably 200, 250 through this one. I have had 2 failures to eject, in which case it was held open. Well, not held open, but the next round to come in was here. But the other one was still all the way in. I mean, it didn't look like it even tried to pull it out. I was using some cheap Maxxtech, not to be confused with Magtech, but Maxxtech steel cased ammo, and ran into that issue. I had it on 2 rounds, interestingly enough, in the same magazine, and didn't have any other failure to feed or failure to eject issues. Racking the slide again, once I dumped the round that was ready to go in, you know, cycled it, and it ejected just fine. Don't know. I also did have one failure to hold the magazine back, or hold the slide back in a magazine when the magazine was empty. Most of the time, every other time it worked fine. Now, I've done this to both of these. This one is paint, whereas this one has just, I believe it's just a Sharpie at this point, and the back 2 are just Sharpies. And I found that this combination, the orange on the back and the green on the front, really works well for when you're trying to get a good sight picture. The green just tends to pull your focus towards it, and you're supposed to be focused on your front sight when acquiring a target. So it really works out well for me on that. Did not mention that the sights are adjustable for both windage and elevation, and that's the other part of this tool, which is a little flathead screwdriver. So you have that ability as well. Overall, I'm very happy with these. I'm going to have to run some more ammo through this one and determine if I'm going to have any other issues. If I am, then of course it's going to go back to Taurus and let them figure out what's wrong. I've looked it over. The extractor looks good. I'm not sure what is the problem there. But that's my review on the Taurus PT111 Millennium G2. I'll have other videos coming shortly. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. There are a couple of things I'm going to discuss in the future. Would be the Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport 2. Got one of those. Real happy with that as well. And go over some holsters. So stick around and hope to see you in my future videos. Thank you so much.